It's not about what you did. It's about what you're doing. This is so important. If you catch yourself ruminating and reliving things and persecuting yourself and go, oh my gosh, it was so dumb. Why'd I do this? Listen, that's great that you take the lesson. You go, okay, oh, that didn't work for me. What lesson did I learn that's within my capability? Not what lesson did you learn about Becky down the street? What lesson did you learn about yourself? And how are you going to implement that now going forward? Like what, with that lesson, what are you doing right now? You get so focused on what you did that you get too wrapped up in that you're not even paying attention to what you're doing, or you're trying to reconcile with what you're doing with what you did. Can't do that. You cannot do that because you did what you did. You said what you said. Stop sitting there and persecuting yourself behind it. You can't do it because the reality is you're always going to find some reason as to why you can't try something, why you can't do something. Well, I did this in the past. Well, I did that in the past. We're here today. Let's stop with ruminating constantly about what you could have done different. Then do something different now, right? Because if you sit there and you keep focusing on it, and yes, it can come from anxiety. Yes, it can come from reason, not an excuse. You don't get to tell yourself, not just about depression, about anything. You don't get to tell yourself, hey, listen, you know what? I just can't help it because I'm depressed about what I did in the past. Okay, well, that's fine. Let's feel it. Let's process it and let's keep it moving. It's going to be maybe a little bit more difficult for you than somebody who isn't in depression, or anxiety. But the reality is stop using it as an excuse. It is a reason. Something that took me a while to get, and I wasn't very happy about getting it in the beginning because I wanted it to be everybody else's problem, so I didn't have to deal with it. Right? That's just the facts. That's how it's easier to blame somebody else. Blame a situation, blame a past version of yourself. You're still blaming something else. Even though it's you, you're still blaming something else. This is imperative for you. So don't worry about what you did. Take the lessons and keep it moving. Listen, I didn't say consequences aren't going to come. I did not say you won't have consequences. But what are you doing about them now? What kind of effort are you making? How are you aligning your behavior with your actions? Because you can have these big lofty goals. Goals are great. But let's A, make sure they're attainable and achievable. And B, make sure that they're yours. Number 2, right? Make sure that they're yours, not everybody else's goals. If your goals are not to get married and have a family, don't put that on your to-do list. Just because mom might be mad, let her be mad, not your problem. It's not your goals. Your life is not a conference call. So it's not, you know what I mean? It has to be yours. Now, you're not just going to necessarily wake up tomorrow and be like, well, this is my plan. I'm on it. No. What's your plan to get to there? What's your plan of action to be the person you want to be based on the goals that are based in you? This is why people give up a lot of times, or they just go, I want this. I wish this. The wish and want isn't going to serve you. It's just not. We all say it. I wish we had this. I wish we had that. I wish time was endless. Great. Lifetime. It was endless on this planet. Great. It's not. No matter how much I wish it to be different. And so these are the important factors that you have to get clear on. And that's why the micro goals, episode 37 of my podcast, that's why the micro goals are your key. But you have to act like the person you want to become before you feel like becoming that person. Okay, this is important. Act like the person you want to become before you feel like acting like it. This is so important for you because when you allow yourself to act that way, you don't find yourself getting pulled off track as much. I didn't say people aren't going to trigger you. I didn't say people aren't going to stress you out. Their journey, not yours. Don't carry their stuff with you. Unimportant. Their stuff is unimportant. Stop valuing what it is that you want them to want you to have or what you want from them. Stop valuing that. Value self. So you have to know how you want to act. Don't just say, well, I want to be peaceful. What is that? You can't do that. I just want to have peace. Okay. Well, are you doing your 5 journals? Are you trying to do your meditation twice a day? Are you moving your body? Are you doing those things? Because that's where you're going to need to start. It's not a one-off. You don't just do it for a couple weeks and go, it's not working. Yeah, you didn't get here overnight. You're not going to unget here overnight. And this is where you have to get very clear of what your actions are. So in order to know what your actions need to be, you have to know where you want to go and what steps you got to take. The fun things, like I say this all the time, when I'm recording my podcast or when I'm recording these, is great. This is the fun part. But you don't see the things before, where I like at the end of the year, which will be like another 6 months here, but here, everywhere. It's not like I'm on a different planet. But I like to sit and spend a couple weeks and go, okay, what topics do I want to cover? What are things I want to do? What do I want to cover on my regular podcast? What do I want to cover on Patreon? What do I want to cover? There's a lot of work that goes into it. It's not just like I'm just sit down and go, I'm going to do this. There's a lot of work. I try to plan it out. And that's not including like different topics that people will be like, oh my God, can you cover this? Absolutely. So, it's a plan. It's not the plan, which is the second part. You can have a plan. Be okay with being flexible. You're going to veer off course. Just because you have a plan for 365 days a year, the plan doesn't care. Like time doesn't care. Universe doesn't care. People around you don't care on the actions in which you have to take. Right? And you got to be flexible. So don't just look at it and say, well, this is the way it's going. Oh my God, I got pulled off course. Of course you got pulled off course because you were too married to the plan. So you have to act like the person you want to become. If you want to be more flexible, if you want to be more chill, then you got to start acting like that. What does that look like? Not, oh my God, it's hard. Stop with the, oh my God, it's hard. Life as a human being is hard. You have two different levels of hard. Hard that's productive, hard that's not productive. Hard is, I don't understand this. Why do I take everything personal? Why am I doing that? Yes, that's hard. Well, but it's going to be hard to change that. Yes, that's true. But to change that means that it's productive. It's going to lead to something with better outcome. That doesn't mean it's going to be a straight outcome. You could go backwards, you can go forwards. You can go backwards, you can go forwards. And that's how healing works, babes. You're not just going to hit it out the park every day. You might be going strong for a few weeks. Woo, life is great. This was like, looks like. And the next week you might run right into the brick wall. I mean, it is what it is. And so you have to be clear and understanding that you got to show up for yourself and act like the person you want to be, even when you don't feel like it. We can all show up for ourselves when things are going well. You don't get special bells and whistles for that. There's no effort really to that. Little effort, minor effort. There's not any real effort to it. So you got to get clear in that. You got to show up for yourself and act like the person before you feel like acting like that. And when you get clear in that, and you have a visual representation of what it is that you want from your life and what steps you need to do to take to get there. You need to do, not what steps does everybody else around you need to do. Steps do you need to do. And guess what? That might mean you might have to clean house. You might have to distance from a job, distance from people, distance from family. You might have to. I'm not saying you're gonna, but you might have to. Because your journey is, again, not a conference call. And if you keep following the masses to the right, you're missing all this beauty to the left. You're like, well, but I kind of know what's this way. Okay, do you want to stay comfortable? Is that really comfortable? Doing what everybody else is doing the easy things, doing the comfort zone things, even if it's chaotic? Yeah, that ain't okay. You're not getting a lot out of that. What you will get if you go to the left, whatever the case may be, right, left, straight, doesn't matter, I don't care. But if you go this way, you're going to forge your own path. You get to create your own path. You don't have to follow the stepping stones of everybody in front of you. Sure, you might think that that's safer and easier, but is it though? Is it? Because you're losing yourself in this big group. Which is why when you go off on your own, it's supposed to be scary. Encounter the flying monkeys, encounter the dragons, encounter the crazy, chaotic things. But you learn the resilience to get there on your own. But it's not going to happen unless you behave that way. There's no scenario where you get the confidence and then you do the things. No scenario at all. You do the things and then the confidence comes. Because you're going to fall, get up, learn, oh, that didn't work. Fall, okay, well, that wasn't as bad of a fall. Still learning things. I did learn some things. Look at it from a different perspective and a different mindset. And when you do that, you're going to start behaving that way. And in turn, you're aligning with that. In turn, the universe is going to give you more of what it is that you're aligning with. If you're aligning with constantly rumination, coulda, shoulda, woulda, that's where you're going to stay on that loop. That's also why you want to talk to your doctor. Maybe you have OCD, obsessive thinking. It's not just ritualistic. Talk to them. Zoloft is great for that. A lot of SSRIs are great for that, but talk to your doctor about it. There are other options, and it doesn't fix it. Don't ever think medicine fixes it. it tones it down so you can actually work on it and show up for yourself. It's not perfect. Every day isn't going to be perfect. There's something amazing, though, in every single day. So ask yourself this question: am I behaving like the person I want to be?